Alright guys, we're going to start in the installations course of the Odin project. If you don't know where that is, you can go to the description of this video. Now, once we're there, we're going to scroll down to virtual machine. We're going to go to click here for the download VirtualBox, and we're also going to click the link for downloading the Ubuntu ISO file. Alright, first thing first, we're going to download the VirtualBox software. We go to Windows Host, click on Save, and that's going to download. And then we're going to go here and we're going to download this middle link, the one that is 2.5 gigabytes. We download that. Alright, now that the download is finished, we can go and run this exe file. I'm not going to run it because I already have this downloaded, but once you just follow the instructions, you're going to arrive at this. We open this up and we're going to go and create a new virtual machine. We're going to call it coding or whatever you want. It's your choice. We're going to go here and we're going to put Linux, and we're going to scroll here and we're going to look for Xubuntu or Ubuntu 3064 bits. Alright, we go next. We're going to allocate about 4 to 6 RAMs of memory. This depends on your computer. Ideally 4. You can go 6 if you want. Now the hard disk, just leave it as it is. Just everything the same way, dynamically allocated. Just don't move anything. When you get here, try to put at least 20 gigabytes of data. You can go more if you have a big disk, but with 20 you'll be fine. You want to create the thing, and now we're going to go to System, and we're going to go to Processor. And if you have the luck to have a multi-processor computer, just go ahead and put 2 of them. It's going to make computations easier. We put 2, and then we're going to go here to optical drive, where it says empty. We're going to go choose create a disk image, and we're going to get the Ubuntu ISO image file. And we're going to go add. We're going to go to desktop. This is where I downloaded my Ubuntu image file. We're going to open this up, and voila. Choose. There it is. And now we have virtual machine. So we're just going to start it off. Now we're going to start the virtual machine, and you're going to see this. You're going to type enter, and we're going to maximize the window. And if we want to see the whole screen, we're going to press Ctrl F. Here we go. Alright, now you're going to see this black screen with the setup option. We're going to click on install Ubuntu. Just leave everything in English unless you want otherwise. Normal installation, everything as default. Alright, now it's going to say erase disk and install Ubuntu. You're going to say install now. You just go and continue. Alright, choose your location. I'm going to choose mine. Your name, Odin, blah blah blah. We're going to put Odin 12 as a password. Whatever you want. Make sure to check this to log in automatically. It's going to make it easier the next time you log in. And now this is going to take a while. Now it's going to ask to restart, so we just click on restart now, and we're going to do some more waiting. Alright guys, so we see a small screen. The first thing we're going to do is we're going to close this, and we're going to go over here, type display, and we're going to go to resolution and look for 1920 by 1080. We choose apply, voila, keep this configuration. Alright, second thing we're going to do is we're going to go and find the instructions. We cannot copy paste things from Windows to Ubuntu, right? So what we're going to do, what we want to do is come over here and copy and paste some of these commands, right? But as you can see, if I copy here, Ctrl C, I go back to the virtual machine, and let's say I pull up the command prompt, and I put Ctrl B, nothing happens, right? So we're gonna go and open up the web browser. Let's click Ctrl F to maximize the window, and there it's loading. It takes a little while, and we're gonna go the Odin project, and once we're here, we're just gonna go right through it. We don't really care. View full curriculum. We're gonna go to the foundations. We're gonna go to installations, and we're gonna go to the same link as before. And while we're at it, we can bookmark this. All right. So we scroll down all the way where the commands were. Scroll all the way down, and we're gonna see these commands. First thing it's gonna prompt you to do is to update your software. So we're gonna type in the whiskers menu right here in the top left, software updater. Here we go, and we just say install now. Now it's already restarted. We're gonna go again to the web browser, and we're gonna load the page as before. It's already loaded. Good. So we go to the virtual machine, we scroll all the way down, and now we're gonna click on some commands. These are to update some Linux things. All right. So first thing you want to learn is how to open up the command prompt. You're gonna press Ctrl-Alt-T for the terminal. Another way to do it is just come here and type in terminal. Terminal emulator, same thing. All right, it opens to the same. Okay, what we're gonna do is we're gonna come here and we're just gonna copy and paste things without knowing what it is. Later on, you're gonna understand what it actually does. So we click Ctrl-C, and when we paste, we're not gonna click on Ctrl-B, but rather Ctrl-Shift-B, okay? Ctrl-Shift-B, and then we press enter. It's gonna ask for a password. We're gonna type Odin12, or whatever your password is, and then we're gonna type in enter. Good. We type in yes. Why? Alright, now what we have to do is insert this guest edition into a system, right? So we go to the bottom and we click on devices and we put insert guest edition CD. Now this is gonna pop an error in my case. I don't know the reason for this, but we can go around it. So what we're gonna do is we're gonna go to a desktop, or we can just click home, and we're gonna see there's a disk right here. So what we're gonna do is we're gonna click on the disk, and on the empty space or on the file, we can just go to file, open terminal here, and this is step number 13. What happened if you couldn't, for some reason, do it automatically. So we just go here, paste this little code, we copy it, and then we Ctrl-Shift paste it. We put our password, Odin12. Alright, as we can see, it has already downloaded. What we're gonna do is we're gonna eject the disk. So we're gonna go back to the home, click here, and just click on this. The device is being ejected. This may take some time. We're gonna wait for it. Alright, once it finishes ejecting, you're gonna get a pop-up in the right corner saying it has ejected. And we're gonna go ahead and reboot the system. So we're just gonna put Ctrl-Alt-T and just click reboot. Boom. Alright, before we start delving into Git and the Git workflow, we're gonna first download a text editor. This is what we use to edit JavaScript, CSS, all our files. So we could just go to a lesson and we're gonna copy down these instructions. So we open the command prompt, and what we're gonna do is copy just as it says here. Ctrl-C, Ctrl-Shift-B. Good. Alright, once it finished downloading, we're gonna install it. So we Ctrl-copy the install command, we paste it, we put our password, and we wait. Good, now it's already installed. We delete the installer file by copying this code and pasting it here. Now it's already deleted. And to open up the app, we can just type code on the command prompt. I'm going to show you guys a different way of doing it. Okay, this is Visual Studio Code. The other way you can open it up is when you go to your home. We're gonna create, let's create a folder here outside of home. We're gonna create a folder called Odin. Inside Odin, we're gonna create a folder called repositories. All right, and we create the repositories, and let's say we want to create files inside of them. We can use VsCode for that. So we put open with Visual Studio Code, And here it is, we're inside our repositories. We press enter, start setting up Git and the GitHub workflow. We open the web browser and we go back to our bookmarked page installations, and then we just want to go to the GitHub and the Git instructions. So we just view course and we go to this lesson right here, setting up Git. What we're going to do is we're going to say, hey, we're on Linux. So we're going to go and open the terminal with Ctrl-Alt-T and just straight up copy whatever they have here. The sudo apt upgrade, Ctrl-C, Ctrl-Shift-B. We put our password. All right, now we do the other one, Ctrl-C, Ctrl-Shift-B. We press Y. All right, it finished. So now we're gonna go ahead and install Git. We copy this command right here, Ctrl-C, Ctrl-Shift-B. And now we go with the install Git. We copy it, we paste it. All right, once it finishes copying, we're gonna check that the Git version we have is above 2.28. So we Ctrl copy this and we Ctrl Shift B. As we can see, we have 2.37.1, which is greater than 228. We're fine. Now we're gonna go and set up our Git user and our GitHub. All right, let's start with the Git user. So here it's saying git config your username. Of course, we're gonna put our own. In this case, the only thing we're gonna do is we're gonna change here when it says your name. We're gonna put, in our case, we're gonna say Odin. But you can put your name, you can put whatever thing you want. We're just gonna put Odin, all right? And then we're gonna do the same for our email. So we're gonna Ctrl copy, and we're gonna Ctrl paste. And I'm going to use an example email, which I will use to show you how GitHub works. So I'm going to put Odin example 12345 at gmail.com. You can use your own, of course. Good. And another little silly thing, but a while back, a year ago, GitHub changed from the master branch to the main branch, mainly because master was associated with slaves. This is for real, and for other reasons too, but that was a reason. So we have to manually change the setting that is set up in master to main. That's why we copy and paste this. All right, there we got it. It changed, and this like auto thing, just copy it, is to make your code prettier. So just copy it. And this is just to make sure that you put the correct username and email. So we just check that by Ctrl copy and Ctrl V. Username Odin, that's what we put, and our email should be Odin example 12345. There we go, it is. So now let's go ahead and go to GitHub and create an actual GitHub account. Once you create your GitHub account, we're going to go back to the instructions page, and we're going to go ahead and see if we have the type of SSH key that GitHub needs. We open the terminal, and we're going to copy and paste this command. Ctrl-C, Ctrl-Shift-B. As we can see, it says cannot access home, blah, blah, blah. Something that is telling us here in the instructions that we have to create this sort of key. So what we're going to do is we're going to copy this example, SSH key -t blah blah blah, and of course we're going to change our email. In our case, I'm going to put the email we came up with, which was Odin example 12345 at gmail.com. So enter the file to which to save the key, and we just press enter. We don't really want to passphrase, no passphrase. There it goes. So we copy this text right here, Ctrl-C, and we're gonna Ctrl-Shift-B here. It's gonna give us our SSH key with our email. We're gonna copy the whole thing, Ctrl-Shift-C, and then we're gonna go to GitHub, to our main account, and we're gonna go here in the top right, click on settings. On the left, we're gonna see SSH and JPG keys. We're gonna go new SSH key. We're gonna put some name we're gonna remember. So I'd say Odin example for YouTube. I already typed that. And we're gonna paste our key. We're gonna add the SSH key. Voila. We have it here, Odin example key for YouTube. And now we are done. Alright, now that we have our Git and GitHub connected, we can show you how the Git workflow works. So let's say we want to make a project, we want to make a repository and build something. What we're going to do is the following. We're going to go to our GitHub and we're going to go to the top right corner and we're going to go here. Let's maximize it. New repository, right? I'm going to create my repository. I'm going to name it YouTube test. And here I can type a description. It's not necessary. I type whatever for this example. And we're going to add a README file. All right. So we're going to create the repository. Voila, we have a repository, right? This is like a folder, an online folder in GitHub. What we're going to do is we're going to copy this SSH key just by clicking here. And then we're going to go to the folder we created, our Odin folder. And inside repositories, we're going to say, hey, let me delete this first. Hey, I want to open the terminal here. And I'm going to put git clone. And I'm going to Ctrl-Shift-B that key I just copied. I just cloned into it. Are you sure you want to continue connecting? Yes. I put Y. Oh, yeah, you have to type yes. I type yes. Good. Now let's see what happened. Oh, suddenly YouTube test appeared here with a README file inside of it. Now let's say I want to work. I want to create something. I want to create the bare bones skeleton thing. So I'm going to go here and I'm going to open this with Visual Studio Code. And the typical project is going to have you have an HTML file, a CSS file, and a JavaScript file. For you beginners, it's going to be just HTML, but you can follow along. We're going to create a new file. We're going to call it index.html. And if you press the exclamation mark, we can create the bare bone HTML. You guys are going to learn about this, but I just want to show you how the Git workflow works. And we're going to put YouTube test here, and we're going to create another file. We can create another one. We're just going to call it styles.css. And what we're going to do there is say, this, guys, you don't need to do. Just as an example, I'm going to make the color of whatever we just wrote aqua, and we're going to save both with Ctrl-S. You guys are going to learn that afterwards. But we're going to create a JavaScript file. We're going to call it also index.js. Why not? And we're going to console log something. You guys don't know what that is. Doesn't matter. Just to console.log. Just to put the point. Just for you guys to understand what we're going to do with this Git workflow. So we just put whatever here. And we have our bare bone project, right? So how do I get this into GitHub? What I'm going to do is, once I already done my project, I'm going to be continuously going to the terminal, and more specifically, I'm going to go to the terminal inside my repository. So that'd be, if I open Odin repositories, the one I just created, I'm going to say open terminal here. So I'm inside my YouTube test, whatever you want to call it, rock, paper, scissors, etch a sketch. And what I'm going to do is the typical Git workflow. So let me maximize this for you guys. We're going to put git add dot space and a dot. And this, what it does is it grabs all the other projects we created and it sort of saves them. So if we type git status, we're going to see, hey, you just staged all these files to be committed, to be pushed into our Git. Then once they're committed, we're gonna say git commit -m, and we're gonna put the double apostrophe, and we're gonna say something for our future self to remember. Our first commit for YouTube example. Good. We committed all of these changes to our virtual, I don't know, server, which is Git. And now we want to actually send it to GitHub. So what we're gonna say is git push. Boom. It just sent everything. What I want you guys to see now is that if we go to our repository and I refresh, oh, look at this. Now we have 2 commits, some done 40 seconds ago, which was the one we just made. And we're gonna be able to see what we just wrote, YouTube test SEH1.